All right.
Stupid.
All right.
Now you see.
Now I see why they kicked her off.
Yeah.
Like just being difficult for no fucking reason.
Yeah, no reason, man.
You know what I'm saying? That's
I'm
why.
just giving you my honest opinion. No, you kicked me off last time for the stats.
Look, I didn't. Let me make this extremely clear. I didn't kick you off because of your opinions. I kicked you off because you were hurting the quality of the show and you were annoying.
What is hurting the
guest.
quality? Well, yeah, I'm gonna annoy the chat when I disagree with you guys.
Yeah,
you
but-
guys, your chat, a lot of them, you have like an audience capture. It's an echo chamber. There are people in your chat who even were like, "She's right on the stats." I don't know why you guys kicked her
Yeah,
off.
Sims.
No, it's not about the stat. It's that you argue in bad faith about certain things. So, for example, right, that discussion in particular was, hey, marriage really isn't in your best interest as a man, period. And then you went ahead and pulled out this straw man of like, oh, well, it's because actually you do realize that like a younger, you don't want the age gap to be too much. And then educated women with bachelor's degree actually have lower divorce rates.
No,
that doesn't take away from the point that marriage is not a good proposition for men in general.
Actually, how it happened was you were saying that a younger girl is more moldable and it's more successful to be in a relationship with a younger girl. And I was saying that if you have a 10-year age gap, your likelihood of divorce goes up by 40%. And that is just the stats. That was how that happened. And then we got into selection bias because I've tried to explain to you multiple times that if you're just looking at the women that are getting divorced and you're like 70% of women initiate divorces and it goes up for college-educated women. But in general, college-educated women are less likely to be in that group getting divorced in the first place. You didn't like that.
No, it's that, see how I said something that's objectively true and then you went ahead and you framed it in a way to make an argument for a stance that you have. I'm just saying younger women in general tend to be more impressionable, are going to follow your lead and they're better partners. And then you went ahead and took from that, oh, well, you know what? Actually, age gap, if once you pass a certain amount, the divorce rates actually go up.
Well, wouldn't that be
and it's
a
like,
good
that doesn't, no, because see, that's what you do. I'm saying something and then you go ahead. You find something very tightly aligned, and you'll be like, "Oh, well, actually," and then you make a completely different argument.
No, it's not though, because if you're saying, well, I assume that you're saying those younger women are more moldable, therefore your relationship would be more successful. A good comeback to that is that the statistics show your relationship is less likely to be successful with a younger woman. That's why I brought up. I think it's very relevant.
Well, she could be younger than you and still be within that age range that we're talking about that is below it. So she could still be younger than you.
Well,
and still,
age, even a 5 year.
Both things can be true, but that's what I'm trying to say is that you argue in bad faith. Like,
How is that arguing in bad faith?
That's 100% arguing in bad faith because that doesn't actually challenge what I said. You're just countering it with something that doesn't really align with what
we
I'm
can
saying.
leave it up to the audience. I would say that if someone's giving the advice to date somebody younger, right, you guys are all like I was saying, and even a 5-year age gap, 10-year age gap, 20-year age gap, all of those increase your likelihood of the relationship not working out, divorce, like statistically. So maybe that's not the best advice. Maybe even though they're moldable, they're clearly not moldable enough because the likelihood of divorce is going up. So that's what I was saying. I don't think that's arguing in bad faith.
It is because I'm just saying, because you brought it to a completely different topic.
I don't think that's a different topic, but okay.
It's
not a different topic. When you're saying these younger women are more moldable and they're better, I'm saying then how come? It's like the same kind of arguments you make. Then how come you're more likely to get divorced with those women? That's my question.
Well, it depends.
How is that not relevant?
It's on the age gap though.
There's also a demographic shift in that too. So if you're talking about a guy who's 50 and a woman who's 35, that's a whole lot different than if you're talking about a guy who's 40 and a woman who's like 25.
Well, in general,
because if he's going to say that women are more moldable as they age. A woman who's 25 years old is going to be probably a little bit more, like, let's say, fresh and naive, I guess, well, a little less experienced, to put it nicely, than a woman who's 35, who's already got another 10 years on the woman who's 25. So is the 35-year-old woman also as moldable as a 25-year-old? And I would argue that that's not the case.
Well, and then the super young, I'm sure if you guys actually are looking at stats, I think you do a good job of this. A woman younger than 25 is more likely to get divorces too. The good ages are 25 to 32 are the best ages to get married statistically for the least likelihood of divorce.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's not how it works right now. It's what is the average age of first marriage is 30 for women and 32 for men right now.
I get that, but a lot of this show is saying, oh, these younger women are better and they're moldable and blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying those younger women are actually, by following the advice of this show, you are putting yourself at a greater statistical likelihood of divorce. That was my argument.
Well, you're also, here's the thing, you're not taking everything into account. We also teach guys you need to be financially, aware. You need to be in shape. You need to have frame. You need to be a leader. You need to be dominant, etc. All these other things come into play, and then you go ahead and get the younger woman. So you're missing out all the other stuff that we're giving advice.
Contextually, what I'd like to know is, so there's like a top 5 reasons for divorce, and the majority of the divorce is initiated by women. So my question is, where there's a larger age gap, what are those top 5 reasons? Are they the same top 5 reasons if you're talking about somebody who's 3 years apart?
3 years, I don't think there was any great statistical likelihood of your divorce going up for 3 years. But the 5-10 years, I think it was.
What I'm saying is like
are the reasons
yeah,
the same?
the reasons. Like for instance, I think domestic abuse is like third.
Yeah, like I know in general, like infidelity, lack of commitment, those are. But I don't know if I've seen any data specifically singling out the couples with the biggest age gap and why those couples specifically got divorced.
Yeah. So, like I said, because you're saying, because you're only taking one piece of information and saying, well, statistically speaking, the rates of divorce are, going to go up, which that might be true. But if you follow the other things we teach, getting your money on point, getting in shape, having frame, not being a loser, not letting women lead, you know what I mean? Like being dominant and assertive. That's going to make you way more attractive.
I mean, maybe, but I wouldn't. I haven't seen any data on that either. That if you're this and you're that and you're richer, then the woman that's 10 years likely is less likely, 10 years younger than you is less likely to divorce you. I think the money, because there is a lot of evidence that the more money you make up to a certain point.
300K.
Yeah, and then it goes to like 600 and then it goes up and it's like a whole thing. But other than that, I haven't seen that fit men are less likely to get divorced or any of those other things you're saying. The money one is the only one that has statistical significance.
I'm curious how you measure fit men getting divorced.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's why I'm asking.
No, you never would. But and there's probably never going to be a way to measure that. But what I am saying is that when you look at guys that get divorced or whatever, what happens? They don't see it coming. Why don't they see it coming? Because they don't understand female nature. They don't understand frame. They don't understand being attractive.
What you're saying, yeah.
So that's what I would use to measure it.
I think what he's saying is what you're saying is relevant, but the thing is, these are men who are just dating women because they're younger and they're still not prepared to date women at all, and so the difference in age gap is a problem. But you're saying if you're financially successful and you're able to lead, that this would not be an issue.
Yeah, because the thing is, when most guys get divorced, they don't see it coming a lot of the times. So when they don't see it coming, well, that tells me you don't know what the fuck is going on. You're unaware. Don't realize that you already lost a relationship years ago, months ago, whatever, and it's because you don't have frame.
I'd be curious as to, I think one of the main reasons why a woman who's like 15, 10, even 20 years younger than someone is marrying them, I think they would be financially stable, but maybe they're not.
Well, yeah, that's of course that's a component, but that's the problem because he relies on that too much.
With all due respect,
all speculation.
Wait, I want to say something quickly. I think with all due respect, even if you have all those great things going for you, when it comes to people getting young and people getting married young in general, they're much more likely to divorce. And I think a big part of that is that your brain is fully not developed. Your long-term decision-making skills are not fully developed. So I think like even if you're like this amazing guy, if you're getting married with a woman who's like too young, as she like matures and grows older and that part of her brain changes, she might start making different decisions. So I think that's another reason to keep in mind that like, hey, maybe waiting like a little bit later is a better choice because she's more emotionally and mentally mature and can make stable decisions.
Yeah, and 25, I think that's literally 25, 26 is when the prefrontal cortex fully develops.
Right.
So
that's funny you should say that. Couples who marry before age 32 experience lower divorce rates.
Well, look at between 25.
There's a sweet spot in terms of marital age for those looking for the least risk of divorce. That's because couples who marry at 25 are 50% less likely to divorce compared with couples who marry at 20. But those who marry after age 32, divorce rates increase by 5% per year until the age they are wed.
Yeah, that's why I said 25 to 32. So that
so
lines,
younger.
with exactly.
Well, 25 is the sweet spot, right?
Yeah, 25 to 32. People, when they say, oh no, get a woman as like young as possible, 18, that's when you start running into the fact that her brain's not fully developed. So you might, even you can be this amazing person, she's still not fully emotionally, mentally matured.
Between 18 and 28 is when women are in their party or their whole phase, as it is anyways. That's when they're at their peak agency.
What's better, for her to be molded by society or be molded by you? Yeah, she's impressionable at that point and she isn't like fully developed, as you guys would say, but why not develop her under your frame where she understands through your lens how to operate, how to move, how to behave, etc. I think it's better for me to take her when she's still impressionable and mold her into the woman that I want versus society doing it for me. Let's be honest, society's going to turn her into a promiscuous whore that thinks that it's okay to sleep around and do a bunch of stupid shit and have indiscriminate sex with the highest status guys that she can get, and then she's going to be fucked up when I get her.
Well, I think the point is that even if you try to mold her, just because like mentally she's not fully developed, she might be making these choices with you that once her prefrontal cortex is fully developed, she'd be making different choices. So it's like, okay, like you can still find a partner that has your same values aligned, that you don't risk the whole idea of like, oh no, now you have the mental maturity, things have changed, the brain chemistry has changed, and now you have that risk. So I think it's a little bit less riskier to find.
Could the risk be because men find her the most attractive in that time period between, let's just say, 18 and 23, that also her relative attractiveness, she's aware of it because of, let me say, social media, that makes it more likely for her to want to divorce. You saying that?
No, I think the risk is literally just the fact that since the prefrontal cortex isn't like fully developed and hasn't slowed down yet, like if people find her attractive, don't find her attractive, it's just not the same level of decision making, a 23-year-old making a decision as like a 25-year-old.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like so for instance, her ability to determine this is wrong, I'm in a relationship and I shouldn't be doing this, is not fully formed before the age of 25. So even though she's more attractive to most men, her ability to stay in the relationship is going to be harder for her because she's under the age of 25.
So do you think they're all divorcing under the age of 25 too? Because I think the average amount of years people are married like 7 years. So are you saying that
5 to 9, so 7.
Yeah. So are these people that are marrying at like 19? You're saying they're getting divorced?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. I'm saying the proposition of, is that one of the reasons why you think that the divorce rate would be higher with a greater difference in age?
Why do you think? Is that why you think? I don't know.
It could be. I mean, because like we want them more, but that means they have more options.
So in that case, they would need to be divorcing while they're still in their peak ages. So that
could be.
So
I mean, so 5-7 years. 18 to 25 is 7 years.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know.
And also keep in mind, women are fairly delusional as to like where their sexual market value peak actually is. Women tend to think it's 5 to 10 years actually what it really is.
So then that would be going kind of against.
No, but you're saying they'll, like you said, women will divorce at like what, 25 to 32?
No, I said 25 to 32 is the best ages where they'll be least likely to divorce. Under 25 has a higher likelihood, and over 32 has a higher likelihood.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Hero. Well, the other thing too is that I would say the internet, right? The grass is
that's the whole. When I'm looking at the study right there, it's comparative to where we were like in the 20th century versus the 21st century. So if you look at divorce rates, they tend to be going down because fewer and fewer people are actually getting married in the first place. So we're